Hey, beautiful event family. I hope everybody's having a love filled, glorious week. I know I am. I wanted to continue my theme from last week in talking about gratitude. Won't be a long one. I'm out, got to get back out in the garden, got to get a lot planted this week. And I do have a lot of gratitude for Mother Nature. But on the notion of gratitude, I was thinking last week, I am known as kind of a half cup full eternal optimist sort of dude, and that might annoy some people sometime, but that's just how I roll. And it served me quite well. But that doesn't mean that I ignore the other side. And one thing I realized after I recorded my journey last week is I didn't cover the other side of the polarity, right? In this dualistic universe that we co-experience together. And that is the stuff that isn't always easy, right? And it's important to have gratitude for things like failure, for the tough times, for the times that really challenge us. And so I just wanted to bring that out, that I do have so much gratitude for the times in my life where I failed many, 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 many times as an entrepreneur and a creative, from my days in Hollywood to tech to all my many different jobs that I took on trying to be my own boss. I failed a lot, and I have so much gratitude for all those experiences. I also have so much gratitude for many of the relationships that I've had that didn't go so well, that went south. They always taught me a lesson about kindness, a lesson about patience, a lesson about listening. That's a big one for me right now. I'm working on listening more, talking less. But so much gratitude for all of these darker times, the times where we are challenged, the times where we must face the dark side, the shadow. Very, very important. And I am so grateful for some of those very, very dark times, especially in my 20s when I was very lost and had no direction and really no insight, no spiritual connection. I know many, many people have been there listening. And those were very important times looking back. That's how I discovered really how to overcome a lot of the obstacles that we face in life by going deep and dark into those pitfalls of my own mistakes and my own inability to see the light. And while I know I've come a long way, I know I'll face those again. And I look forward to those times because those are the times where we have an opportunity to grow. So I am very, very thankful for this duality we coexist in. I know this is why we choose to come here and experience it. And while I don't always look forward to be honest, to challenges like that, I know they're coming, and I know they'll be momentous times for my growth. So I just wanted to bring that up today because that was a very, very important thing I forgot last week about gratitude. And so this week in my gratitude journal, I will be focusing on some of those challenges and some of those dark times that I'm grateful that I faced. Love you all. Have a beautiful week.
Hi friends, it's Tara here, and I'm out in the middle of the great outdoors. I'm out in the middle of the forest, surrounded by mountains and the lake. It's so absolutely breathtaking. It's beautiful. I've been out here for 3 days. No cell phone service, no Wi-Fi, just me and the forest. Absolutely amazing. I feel deeply rooted and connected. There is great calm and ease. It is so essential to do this every so often, to get away from our full lives, to get a different perspective, to take an inventory, to do a little assessment. Where am I and where do I want to go? To just breathe deeply this opportunity, I think, as we get closer to the earth, as we move away from distractions, which are everywhere, this opportunity to remember who we are. I think this is the biggest challenge in the world that we live in right now. There are so many distractions. And because of these distractions and the way that our minds work, we're just acting out of habit, which means we're not even thinking half the time. We're just acting out of a subconscious program that has almost absolute control over everything we do. We're not even thinking. And so when I'm out here in the middle of the woods with no distractions, it gets me thinking. It gets me really looking at things. You know, what's working, what's not. I mean, our habits, they're going to make us or break us. And we want habits that are moving us in the direction of our desires. Maybe leaving this planet a little better off than we found it. Being the person we know we can be. Moving us towards more joy and more ease. So I would just ask you, wherever you are your habits moving you towards what you want, or are you distracted? Are you disconnected? Are you filled with disease? And then I would encourage you to just take a little sabbatical from your life. Get out into the forests. Get away from your life and the distractions, and take an inventory. And honestly ask yourselves these questions. We are meant to live a life filled with purpose. We are here to be on purpose. Our lives matter. And I find personally for myself that the opportunity always is when we get a little bit away. We create some distance. This gives us the opportunity to really think. To really think from the highest side of our nature. To think from the higher mental faculties. To allow yourself to dream. In this space of calm and ease and connection is where truly the manifesting happens. So I'm grateful to be out here. I'm grateful to have this opportunity, and I wanted to share it with you. This opportunity to really think when we're in the middle of our lives, the hustle and bustle, the distractions. It's hard to think. It's hard to see what's really going on in our lives. Oftentimes other people can see, but we can't see that. We can't see what they see. And we resist being told what to do. We resist change. So it is always important, not only important, but essential that we do get away, that we take the time. So wishing you all an amazing week ahead. I'm going to be coming back to the distractions. Of course, I'll have phone service, and I'll have Wi-Fi and all these wonderful things that I choose to use versus it using me. And because I know that we are the sum of our habits. I have the habit of being a master scheduler. And this is an area I can always do better. So as I come back to my life, I'm going to be very mindful around the habit of how I use my phone, how I use the internet. And I choose to use it for the good. And this is something I'm going to continue just getting better at and better at. And better is a good thing every day. There's an Emile Coué formula. Every day in every way, I'm just getting better and better. I'm going to leave you with that. Have a great week.
Hello, my friends. Dr. Devin here, and I'm sitting watching the rain fall down here in Wichita, Kansas, and it seems appropriate that, like teardrops from the sky, the rain is falling. And I actually love rainy days. Not all the time, but every once in a while to just feel that pause and a little bit of sorrow. And, with some of the things going on in the world, it made space for me to have a really good cry this morning. I am definitely one of the people out there that, a good cry is often the very best medicine. And, of course, you've seen the headlines and the school shooting in Texas. It reminded me of a lesson that life gifted me a few years ago that I wanted to share here with all of you. And I was in the airport and this man's smile caught my attention. I'll just never forget it. He's just had the kindest eyes, and I love making eye contact and smiling, especially in public places like that where you don't know this person, you don't know where they're coming from or where they're going, and there's just like this moment where you can look in their eyes and say, hey, I hope you're well, and love and light your way without saying a word, right? The smile says it all. And so my smile caught his, and then we checked in and we went upstairs and we walked into the restaurant, and here there's a spot at the bar next to this guy and he's eating dinner. And I was like, hey, Joey, my husband, let's sit down next to him. I don't know what it is, but I think I'm supposed to sit next to him. So we pull up and we have a seat, and he's, telling us he was in town teaching and on his way back home. And I noticed that his shirt says, be humane. And I was like, I love that. Be humane. That's, what a simple and profound message. He said, yeah, it's a foundation that I'm a part of. It's actually what I was here teaching about. I'm a compassion scientist. I said, wow. I said, so this Be Humane Foundation, what's it about? And he said, well, my daughter, Avielle, was one of the young people killed at Sandy Hook. And I immediately shuddered and retracted. My whole body, visceral. Tears like I have them now. I said, I can't imagine. And he put his hand on my hand, and I will never forget the medicine that came from there. And he looked at me and he said, yes, you can. Almost forcefully, gently, but forcefully. Yes, you can. You can imagine. And then opened a conversation about leaning in to the pain, because it's in the pain and the compassion that we all understand each other, that we feel the similar feels. And he said that is where we can go beyond these tragedies. When we understand each other and we meet each other in that sacred space. And he said, he could stay angry, and he's like, I am angry. I will be angry for the rest of my life. I am sad. I will be sad for the rest of my life. I will miss my daughter every day until I meet her again. So I have to do something. I have to believe that there is purpose in this pain. And so they created the Avielle Foundation and study compassion, and they study the brain and what happens in these situations of impulse and violence, and how do we get there, and how do we mitigate it, and how do we save the world, right? Through understanding. And we went on to share a meal and have a conversation, and we traded information, and I was on my way to a Tony Robbins seminar where I came together with a group, and we raised over $5,000 for the Abiel Foundation. And so Jeremy and I, we stayed in touch on and off. And I wish that this was a happy ending where I said, and he, has since come to speak at the Big Idea, and we're on the way to healing the world through his studies. But in 2020, I received a message from one of the people who was on my Tony Robbins team that Jeremy had committed suicide. And I started to do the thing again where I cry and lock up and say, oh my God, I can't imagine. But I could hear his voice, and I could feel his hand on my hand where he says, yes, you can. Yes, you can understand the level of sorrow that can overcome a person and grab a hold of their soul so deeply that they don't see another way beyond the pain, but choosing to opt out. I can't understand how a father who had gone through that type of devastation, even in trying to find profound purpose in the pain, just could not move beyond it. I can't imagine. And so today, I can't fix the school shootings. I can't fix suicide. I can't take the suffering away as badly as I want to. But I can lean in, like Jeremy asked me. I can choose to feel the pain instead of numb it. I can choose to be kind and forgiving and compassionate, even when I want to let the rage get the best of me. I can choose love. I can choose light. I can choose to believe that we will find our way beyond these maddening times. And that will be my choice. And I will hold space for all who are in the midst of great sadness and suffering. And I will pause long enough each and every day, multiple times a day, to call them to my heart, to call them to my mind's eye. I will see the children. I will see the parents. I will see the teachers. I will see the communities. I will see the gunmen. And I will wrap them in love and light. And I will ask God to meet us here on earth with all of heaven's love, to show us the way beyond this. I love you, and I don't know what you're going through, but you are braver than you imagine.
Hello, dear event family. This is Josh here, and I'm just sending you this message on the way to the airport this morning for an event this weekend. And I'm just reminded by, sometimes we forget how far we've come, Sometimes we lose track of the past successes we've had, or breakthroughs, or really instances in which we've really shown up, that we have shown, our essence in our lives in this world. So I wanted to take a moment with you and to ask you, in this time in which things are intense, we're navigating, sometimes the programs of fear and other of its sort of subsidiary programs, as I call them, can start to take up residence in our mind and our psyche, and can start to unjustifiably influence how we see ourselves and our identity, and we start to get reduced down in our thinking, in our self perception, perhaps. So let's take this moment to think about what's something in your life, even just one thing. Let's just focus on the one thing that's coming up for you, something that you are proud about having been part of, having created. Could be with work, it could be with family, it could be in relationship, it could be in sports or with your body and athletics. But just consider one thing that you can look back on and say, I did that. I'm proud of that. I don't talk about that a lot, and I don't always feel like I have to wear that on my sleeve, but maybe I should a little bit more. And you know what? I'm grateful to have been in that, to have done that. And then maybe there's one or two other things underneath that, one or two other things in your life that you can think that celebrate how far you've come. And it could be something less tangible as well, just an indicator of you are here and you're awake and you're intending. And even if you're not all the time, and nobody is all the time, nobody's really conscious 100% of the time. If they were, then they wouldn't need to be on Earth anymore, really, right? I mean, that's perhaps one way to see it. But we are all navigating this time of intensity. So in this moment, I invite you to take a breath and celebrate an aspect of your journey. And I want to share with you a little bit about my journey that you may or may not know about. I came into, about 9 or 10 years ago, I came into awareness of smart utility meters, smart utility metering programs which were being set up in North America and around the world. And I came into awareness of the harm that those were doing to people that didn't know about the various harmful effects. So from the EMF radiation side of things to the privacy violations and in-home surveillance implications to fires, these new digital wireless technologies causing fires on homes in which some people have actually died. In one case, there was more than 5,000, meters exploded all at the same time because of a short, an electrical issue in that city. And then to the billing increases and the wastage of electricity that these new kind of utility metering causes, and basically into all these issues around informed consent, and people weren't being notified that the meter on the side of their home was being upgraded to, as my friend Jeffrey Armstrong put it, to a dangerous meter. And so he was one of the people that I interviewed. I've interviewed about 70 people for a documentary called Take Back Your Power. And again, many of you are familiar with it, but I'm just reminded of this lately, that that this documentary is such a valuable tool that has helped 3 or 4 million people, I think, is my estimation of the number of people that actually watched the documentary since it was released in 2013. And help with awareness, because the first step to solving any problem is to become aware. And also helped with the solution in many cases, because people can, as of between 2010 and 2013, 2014, utility companies started to offer opt-outs from smart utility metering. So that means that if you're aware of the problems of the smart meter, or for any reason if you don't want one, typically a utility company offers an opt-out. So all you need to do is ask, and they might make you jump through 1 or 2 hoops, and they will likely charge you a few dollars a month, which is technically extortion. But there is that solutions pathway available to opt out of a smart utility meter. So this process of coming into that awareness was really my transition into really wanting to actively serve mankind, like for the first time ever. I was saying to myself in late 2010, making government websites really doesn't do it for me anymore. I'm really tired of promoting, Canadian government propaganda about what they're doing with their immunization programs and, suicide programs for First Nations people and all this bullshit just wasn't sitting with me anymore. And that was, to be fair, that was just one or two of my clients, but larger clients at the time. I was building out websites. But so I gave all that up, and I basically went to Maui for 3 months and was wondering, what can I do next? What can I actually create, or what do I want to do with my life? This was in 2011, early 2011. And then I came back from that experience, and I'm just going to pull over here so I can be present with you in this moment. I came back from that experience, and I started hearing about smart utility meters and people like literally getting sick from the radiation from them. And then there was the privacy concerns, and then the fire concerns started coming up. And of course they're hackable. They're people can hack into your home if you have everything smart and wireless and whatever. So that's a dangerous aspect in and of itself. So, and I was wondering, like, how come like people don't know about this? This isn't being discussed. And I wasn't naive at the time, but I was definitely, more naive than I am today. So I just grabbed a friend of mine, and I said, look, I'll pay you a little bit. Let's go interview some people. And 2 years later, it was a 2-year development process to make this documentary. Take Back Your Power was released in September 2013. And as of today, you can watch the film for free. It's on YouTube, so it's legacy YouTube. We uploaded there a few years ago. And it's available also at takebackyourpower.net. So it's freely viewable there. It's about an hour 35 minutes, I believe, the final cut, and it's won several awards. So I would encourage you. This is an issue which I basically have significantly moved on from since releasing that documentary and doing this circuit and doing a film festival or two and doing probably 50 or so interviews on the internet and radio. But and I feel like I'm kind of bridging back to that awareness, because the science will say, and many people are realizing this, is that all of this proliferation of wireless technology, even if you don't even consider all the other negative aspects of smart meters, which I mentioned, the proliferation of wireless and even Wi-Fi and even our phones, and especially like what's within our home, which is directly under our control, it does have an effect on our consciousness, right? It pulls us out. It basically is stimulating us at a micro level. And in many cases that is contributing to various symptoms. And of course, most of us are aware of 5G and the various research that's been done, the various hypotheses, and a lot of it is well-established scientific research that there are links between microwave exposure and immunological effects, so, and many other things, neurological, and if you want a little bit of the science on this, there's a couple thousand scientific studies are on a website called Building Biology, Building Biology is a solutions website, Building Biology Institute, excellent solutions website. But the website I'm talking about with the science is called the Bio Initiative Report, so bioinitiative.org. And I'm going to be, over the next number of weeks, I'm going to put a resource or two together for you all that you can really get like the nuggets and the distilled, value and leading to solution of some of the work that I've done in and with collaboratively with other amazing activists and creators in what feels like a previous life. For me, because I'm interested in getting to the root. I'm interested in consciousness. I'm interested in like the core of freedom and shifting our relationship with, our identity, and then let that influence how we show up in the world and community and all of that stuff. But you know what? I'm interested in safe technology too. And I think it's really, really key. And there's some resources there which I think could really help. One last resource I will mention is I have a couple of years ago, I wrote a free solutions mini ebook PDF with a gentleman named Orem Miller, who's one of the senior building biologists. He's an instructor at the Building Biology Institute, and he does a lot of in-home, has clientele in which he goes, makes their homes EMF safe. So there's specific things you can do that are a lot easier than almost anybody realizes for making your home EMF safe, for basically taking control of the, say, 80 to 90% of what most people are exposed to in terms of EMF, whether it's 5G or not 5G, which again, 5G is just basically a marketing label, really, and it does include a higher level of frequency bandwidth on top of the old other frequencies and more transmitters. But I digress. Whatever are the sources of microwave exposure and EMF exposure, and which includes dirty electricity and magnetic fields and electric fields as well. Like 80 to 90% of that is under your direct control, right? And so we've been kind of conditioned to fear what's out there, but guess what? There's simple things you can do that in many cases don't cost anything at all, and in some cases, you can get, for example, a $30 adapter for your phone that you can use your phone when you're home. You can plug your phone into the internet. Did you know that? You can plug your phone into the internet and put it in airplane mode and turn off Bluetooth, obviously turn off Wi-Fi, and use your phone as a wired device. Now, the only thing you can't do in that setting is to send text messages. You can still receive text messages, and you can do anything on any apps and email and data and everything else on your phone. So a link to that and a link to all of the top products that I recommend, including how to wire your router and turn off the wireless radiation, how to test for under $200, like what testing device do I recommend should people get for their homes, to find the sources, those various sources of wireless, and really take back control of your home, so that you are functioning optimally without this unnecessary noise, right? And you actually get a better internet speed too by using some of these technologies. So I put my best recommendations in this free PDF, and it's on takebackyourpower.net. And a lot of the products are actually hyperlinked on there, and I have to update the hyperlinks. Unfortunately, they go to Amazon. But one of my favorites is wiring your phone, and you can also just go online and type, if you have an iPhone, you type Apple Ethernet Lightning RJ45 converter or Lightning Ethernet converter, and you will see a bunch of different products available. The one that I currently like is called I think it's called Biochem, BIOCHEM, and it's on Amazon, and it's like $22. So you basically, you plug it into your router, and then you use this adapter and you plug it in your phone, and you have no concerns about wireless exposure from your phone. There's other things you can do for any wireless device or item in your home. You can hardwire your internet throughout your home. There's technologies available where you can actually use your existing cabling system within your house, like your house or your home, like the jacks that transport the TV cable from room to room. You can use that for wired internet, so you don't have to even be running Ethernet cords all over the place. So all of this information is in like I think it's about a 30-page PDF on takebackyourpower.net. It's free there for you to download, and you can find the form to opt in for that for free on takebackyourpower.net. So I wanted just to take this moment and to celebrate, with you, right, revisiting some of our past successes, which can bring light and encouragement to ourselves and others, and allow those to inform, how we see ourselves and who we see ourselves as, and more so than the lies, right? So fill up the space in our mind and our consciousness with what we choose. And that's it for now. I'm sorry, I just realized this is 17 minutes. I love you guys. Thank you so much for listening, and have a great day.